Hi, I'm Jana Bosonko, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. Ahead of Saturday's laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a $100 million hotel in preparation for the OIC summit, the Director of Press and Communications at the Office of the President urges Gambians to support and take ownership of the project. The National Technical and Vocational Education and Training Committee on Thursday met to discuss the implementation plan for the national TVET policy. The GCCI, under the Public-Private Producer Partnership 4P project concept, convened its second dialogue meeting this time, which producers and input suppliers, amongst others. The first had been with financial institutions. How does civic education contribute to citizens' understanding of the law and obedience to or compliance with those laws? We went out to find out. Those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jana Bosonko. You're watching QTV News. Now, ahead of Saturday's laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a $100 million Radisson Blue Hotel in preparation for the OIC summit, Ami Bojang Sisaho, Director of Press and Communications at the Office of the President, has urged Gambians to support and take ownership of the project. She was speaking in an interview with QTV.
With preparations for the country's hosting of the second largest convergence of heads of states, the OIC summit, at various stages of progress, President Barrow is expected to preside over the laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a modern five-star hotel. It is one of several other projects being implemented for the successful hosting of the summit. And ahead of Saturday's event, Ami Bojang Sisoho, the Director of Press and Communications at the Office of the President, says Saturday's event will usher in the commencement of a project that will in many ways change the face of our country, especially in the hospitality industry.
Very important project for to have in the Gambia, and on Saturday His Excellency President Adama Barrow will grace the occasion by laying the foundation stone and to show the importance of the hotel in the whole infrastructural development context of the Gambia, but also to identify the opportunities it creates for the Gambia. Once you have such good infrastructure in terms that have international standard, it attracts a lot of people to the country.
Given how big this project is, she says it is expected to create thousands of jobs for skilled Gambians, adding that the Gambia is set to enjoy numerous benefits from the project.
And it's not only for the event per se, that is the OIC summit, but beyond that, what opportunities it creates for the Gambia in terms of tourism, in terms of job opportunities. Even the construction itself will create a lot of opportunities for the Gambia, and I think Gambians should take the opportunity and seize it to the maximum. It also opens the opportunity for very important personalities to visit the Gambia, because they will know the standard they want is available, and it will attract a lot of international organizations to the Gambia to be having their programs here, because they will know that the standards they are looking forward to can also be available in the country.
Meanwhile, she also urges the public to take ownership of the project. Once completed and fully functional, she says this magnificent edifice will be a catalyst to similar projects soon and will encourage other big and genuine investors to visit and invest in the Gambia.
Investment. And you can see where it is coming from. A Gambian is involved. I know most people think the person involved is not a Gambian, but actually it's a Gambian. One of the parents is a Gambian. So, but that is not even important, even if the person is not a Gambian. What is important is that investment, if you are ready to put that much of your wealth in a country, and it creates those opportunities, that's what you look at. What does it create for us? It's a win-win situation. Whoever invests in something wants something out of it. But how do we have a win-win situation for both the investor and the country?
She also implores the public to also take ownership of the other OIC infrastructural projects. Saturday's event is expected to be graced by senior government and OIC Gambia Secretariat officials. This five-star hotel is expected to cater for presidential and royal villas and provide luxurious services for important guests and renowned personalities who may want to visit the country in the future. Answana Isonyase for KTV News.
Now let's shift our attention to education, as the National Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET Committee met on Thursday to discuss the implementation plan for the national TVET policy. The meeting was organized by the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology in collaboration with the International Trade Center. Our reporter Omar Pijalo was there and fastened this report.
The development came at the 14th meeting of the TVET Committee, convened by the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, to report and discuss progress and challenges of implementing projects and programs under TVET. The discussion focused on aligning the TVET roadmap with the national TVET policy, which was validated in August 2021. The TVET Committee comprises 45 members from various public and private tertiary and higher education institutions, government sectors and international partners, to have diverse views in support of the program. In his welcoming remarks, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Dr. Yusuf Toure, highlighted the significant role of the committee towards the development of a master plan that will guide the implementation of the national TVET policy. PS Toure thanked partners such as UNESCO and COICA for supporting the ministry's agenda.
Bringing together development partners too, in the passings of YEP, ITC, you may call it, GIZ, as well as the COICA, the developments around UNESCO and COICA would also go a long way in addressing the problems. In the past, we did not have that. We were working in our individual, corners, and issues were not properly, addressed. There were serious duplications, here and there.
Yusuf Keta, the coordinator of Jobs, Skills and Finance at the International Trade Center, ITC, said the committee meeting emerged from the National TVET Roadmap that was developed in 2019, which stressed the need to have a body to coordinate the Gambia's TVET policy. Mr. Keta adds that today's meeting will look at the National TVET policy and roadmap that are already developed and validated to ensure that these documents are mutually compatible and coordinated in implementation. He thanked members of the National TVET Committee for their dedication, commitment and knowledge sharing.
Whatever work you are doing as partners, please feel free to share it here so that we can complement each other, we can coordinate things, and then we can improve the ecosystem together. If we decide to do something different than that, that is going to deter us achieving what we want to achieve in the TVET space.
Dr. Jojo Ndur Tamberu, a TVET committee member, said the program's roadmap is to revitalize TVET in the Gambia and get TVET right so as to have young people who are job creators and employers rather than job seekers.
When we come up with policies, when we come up with actions, it's actually in line with what we need as an employer. So I am bringing in the insight from the perspective of an employer.
The Gambia has adopted a roadmap for educational and training institutions to step up support for young people. The development of the TVET roadmap is part of the Jobs, Skills and Finance program for women and youth in the Gambia. The program aims to stabilize the economy, social and security situation of the Gambia in collaboration between the government of the Gambia and the International Trade Center. The plans and suggestions identified from the meeting will be consolidated into one document, which will later form the master plan for the implementation of the national TVET policy. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Now, as part of ongoing dialogue with relevant actors in implementing the Roots Agriculture Project, the GCCI, under the Public-Private Producer Partnership 4P concept, convenes its second dialogue meeting, this time with producers and input suppliers, amongst others. Ali Sise has more.
The dialogue, the second in 2 days, organized by GCCI, is meant to guide participants in the realization of the key outcomes that are critical for the attainment of the development objective of the Resilience of Organization for Transformative Smallholder Agriculture Project, known as the RUS project. The first similar interface was on Wednesday with financial service providers, which looked at the possible involvement of the financial institutions in what has been identified as a $20.6 million project funding gap. The meeting allowed participating producers, input suppliers, importers, financial institutions, and other valuable chain actors to discuss and agree on a mutually beneficial contractual template. Sarata Konate, CEO, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, expressed her office's determination to successfully execute its role as one of the project's implementing partners.
So the two main areas that GCCI would be involved in are the supporting the implementation of the 4P arrangements in collaboration with other project implementing partners and affiliates. Also to assist SMEs and farmer organizations such as yourselves that are interested in this arrangement, this new innovative arrangement, in discussions similar to which we will be having today. And then the final one was also to facilitate signing of supply contracts, execution and signing of supply contracts.
The RUS project is jointly funded by development partners with IFAD as the lead financier. The International Fund of Agricultural Development, IFAD, is an international financial institution and a specialized agency of the United Nations that works to address poverty and hunger in rural areas of developing countries. Fatou Jammeh Touré, Deputy Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, said her ministry is honored to be associated with the project implementation as she acknowledged the critical role of the stakeholders.
Because we cannot talk about the value chain or value addition. We can succeed without efficient and effective input. And you are here, the providers of those inputs for the finance that is going to be pumped into agriculture to be efficiently used.
Mariam Bitey, Acting Development Officer, RUS Project, explains the objective of the new 4P arrangement concept designed in the RUS project.
What the 4Ps is trying to do here is come up with a framework, a contract agreement that is going to protect both the smallholder farmers, the producers, the private sector, and everybody in the value chain of rice and vegetable. Those are the interventions of the RUS project.
These participants used the meeting to renew their call for more support to farmers with necessary financial and other services to boost the agriculture sector. They hope this RUS project will achieve that in the targeted regions, West Coast region, Lower River, North Bank, Central River, and Upper River regions. Approximately 40,000 households will benefit from the project. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
From that story by Aliou Cisse, we will now go for a short commercial break. And when we come back, we have some more local news stories for you. Do stay tuned.
QMoney is back again with its easy-to-use, secure and convenient mobile app that allows you to carry out all your transactions. No matter where you are or what time it is, you can always access your funds. With the new QMoney app, you can cash in and out, buy credit, buy QPower, shop, make payments, and so much more. You can also send QMoney, pay bills, receive international remittances, and transfer cash to others. Just download the app from your Play Store or App Store and get started. For more information, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Kalpe. We innovate, others follow.
The Gambia OIC Secretariat, in collaboration with the Office of the President and Imogam Hotels and Resorts, wishes to invite the general public to the foundation stone laying of the 5-star Radisson Blue Hotel by the President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Adama Barrow, on Saturday, 23rd July 2022 at 4 p.m. The construction of a 5-star hotel is one of the key priority projects in preparation for the forthcoming OIC Heads of State and Government Summit. The hotel will have 400 rooms, including 60 presidential and royal suites. The 5-star hotel will ensure the guests receive a befitting accommodation experience. Additionally, it will diversify our tourism portfolio by providing luxurious accommodation facilities for high-end tourists. Let's come out and support this massive development.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, still on local news, how does civic education contribute to citizens' understanding of the law and obedience or compliance with those laws? I went out and about to engage the public on why citizens sometimes disobey laws. Our engagement with the public showed that the public are concerned about the low level of civic education in the Gambia, apart from during election cycles. The declining levels of civic education across the country is the primary reasons citizens disobey laws, according to our interviewees. Civics is the study of the rights and obligations of citizens in society. Research shows that a proper civic education structure in a country ensures citizens understand government policies and programs and helps maintain peaceful, orderly and stable environment. Here are Sekou Dabo and Gerald O'Shea Williams giving us their take on the matter.
The law of the land is a basic right that Gambians should understand in the grassroots level. Like in secondary school, in the 70s up to the late 80s, there was a subject called civics that students will understand what government is and the rule of government and that what constitute the rights of the people. But nowadays, everything is here and there.
To do with the National Center for Arts and Culture, number one. Number two, the civics education people also have a role to play in that. The Gambian people need to be well educated, need to inform people of anything that you wanted them to be involved in. Because if I don't know what to do, I can't do it.
Otto Rebecca Winthrop says, and I quote, "Without civic education, a government of the people, by the people and for the people will not last." We also spoke to Avenda Jainaba Toure at Westfield, who believes that it is only dictatorship that can make Gambians abide by laws.
Gambians haven't seen someone they are afraid of. That is why they are disobedient sometimes.
Jainaba is not the only person with the notion that dictatorship is the only way to make citizens conform. Well, dictatorships take away democracy. Democracy allows citizens to learn and naturally accept things and at the same time question them. With the required civic education in schools and from the National Council for Civic Education, evidence shows mindsets will change progressively and citizens will obey and comply with laws because they will realize that doing so is in the best interest of all. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko. The Gambia Armed Forces, in partnership with the Center for Research and Policy Development, organized a two-day interface forum with journalists and media practitioners to develop an understanding between the media and the military sector on information dissemination. Ajibintu Drame has the rest of that.
The forum, under the theme, "The Delicate Balance Between Sharing Information and Sustainable Peace and Security in a Democratic Setting, Prospects and Challenges," aims to cement the partnership between the media and the armed forces. It is hoped this platform will enhance media personnel and give them an in-depth understanding of matters relating to military issues. This, in turn, will serve as a guide in their reporting of sensitive and national security-related matters. Major Mamat Ocham, Deputy Chief of Defense Staff, says as the country is going through a reform and democratic process, part of the Gambia Armed Forces mandate is to protect the nation's territorial integrity. Nonetheless, its top-secret report, which could be to the advantage of its adversaries, cannot be compromised.
There is also a need for reasonable disclosure so that those whom we serve are also aware that what we do is purely to ensure their safety and security. National security issues are issues which probably are not written anywhere, but there is a common understanding that the press will not put forward any information that may be detrimental to national security.
During ex-President Jammeh's regime, the citizenry had little or no trust in the security sector. Mohamed Esba, president of the GPU, applauds the current government for restoring the long-dead trust and urged the participants to take the opportunity seriously.
It is important to continue such engagement to cement the successes gained over the years. The armed forces should continue its open door policy and engage in proactive disclosure when it comes to giving out relevant and timely information to the public.
Serigne Modou Njie, the Minister of Defense, says the military and media have mandates and responsibilities to the public. He adds that understanding, respecting the norms and values of both parties will cement the military-media relationship. Seth Matijau, Executive Director of the Center for Research and Policy Development, explains.
Building relationship between security institutions generally, and particularly between the military and the civilian population, will go a long way in strengthening our democracy, but also ensuring that the civilian population take ownership of their own security institution.
Yankuba Jallo and Makuta Mane are both participants, say the training is significant in helping to distinguish each other's role in not jeopardizing the peace and security of the country.
We have a channel of communication through the public relations department, that is the PRO of the army, but not everything that we want we get. That is so difficult, and then it's so frustrating for a journalist to request information and then get it. But we will get to understand them more as to why do they withhold some of the information.
I'm looking forward to a fruitful discussion whereby we'll be able to inform them some of the issues that we discuss here today.
It is hoped that this forum will address the challenges between the media and the armed forces, which will reflect on the reporting of security matters. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Brilliant initiative there. Now, recently, countries in West African sub-region have been experiencing extreme heat or hot seasons, the Gambia included. QTV spoke to the Department of Water Resources to find out what has changed and the impact it has on the environment. Ajibintu Drama again.
The Gambia has a subtropical climate with sunshine throughout the year and average temperatures between 29 degrees Celsius and 24 degrees Celsius. Recently, high temperatures to 45 degrees Celsius is experienced, particularly in the most part of the Upper River region. Yet, extreme heat waves are systematically monitored in many countries in the sub-Saharan Africa region. Speaking to Tijani Bojang, Chief Forecaster, Central Focus Office, Department of Water Resources, explains the reason behind this change of extreme weather.
Ozone is what we call the ozone layer, and this ozone layer is what is our blanket, which is now gradually depleting by the emission of the greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. Climate change issue like this emission of greenhouse gases as a result of the industrialization, as a result of clearing vegetation cover, forest cover, and so forth.
Recent research has found that since the 1950s, extreme heat has become more frequent and severe and lasts longer in nearly all regions of the world. The biggest increases have been seen in the Middle East, South America, and parts of Africa.
Our temperatures are rising. We have conducted research, and then we have seen evidences of these rises in the temperature. And then the impact on us is that the livestock are much more affected, because like when the temperatures rise, when the atmosphere is hot, you could see birds falling from the sky and then dying. You could see low production in milk, and then also it increase cattle disease and then other livestock problems.
Extreme heat poses a serious hazard to people's health, particularly the elderly. The unbearable heat makes people agitated, and yet people are not interested about knowing the impact it has on their lives. Mr. Bojang says, exposure and vulnerability to extreme weather is also more pronounced in many sub-Saharan African countries when compared with European countries. This is mainly due to the higher poverty levels, informal settlements, and the need for outdoor work.
All age people, actually the best advice is for them to stay indoor, especially when the temperatures are rising, and then you have very strong winds from the Sahara Desert that are inflated by the influence of the intensive heating. The best for the old, I know it's not easy, and then people need to go and look for their survival, but when you are an old age, the best option is to keep yourself in the room. It's important for people to take weather very seriously, because if people don't get the weather and climate information, it's really something that is affecting our life on a daily basis.
Extreme heat or heat waves can be killers and very dangerous. Meanwhile, more can be done, such as early warning system, action plans, collaborations with researchers, doctors and epidemiologists can identify direct health impacts of extreme heat. For the public, it's a case of taking precautions, act sensibly and don't go out when it is extremely hot. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
From that story by Ajibintu Drame, it seems that is all we have time for. But before we leave you, let's just quickly recap our main headlines. Ahead of Saturday's laying of the foundation stone for the construction of a $100 million hotel in preparation for the OIC summit, the Director of Press and Communications at the Office of the President has urged Gambians to support and take ownership of the project. The National Technical and Vocational Education and Training TVET Committee met on Thursday to discuss the implementation plan for the national TVET policy. The GCCI, under the Public-Private Producer Partnership 4P concept, convened its second dialogue meeting, this time with producers and input suppliers, amongst others. The first had been with financial institutions. How does civic education contribute to citizens' understanding of the law and obedience or compliance with those laws? We went out to find out. That is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Do join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.